All right, everybody. So I'm de-winterizing my air conditioner system and also hooking up my raw water to my toilet in the head. So what I've got here is this right here is my depth sounder wire that goes there. I've got to get that. It's going to be reattached probably right in here, and I'm going to run it down along this this bulkhead that's right here. So here's my raw water supply to the toilet. As you can see, I've got a rusty clamp I'm going to have to get replaced in here, and I'll probably put a double clamp on both sides of this. I do have a double clamp down here. Now this one is my air conditioner supply hose, and this is my actual supply pump that actually pumps water to my AC unit, and then from there, circulates around that and then discharge. So this is my strainer that goes here. And what I'm doing is I'm rerouting this hose to line up better with the pump, because I want to secure the pump to this 2x4 that's right here. That way it won't be bounced around, and it'll keep the same angle at all times. Now, something to keep in mind is you're trying to strain the water for your AC pump. That way you can keep out sticks and debris, whatever, moss, whatever, fish, you name it, right? But the toilet does not have one on here. So I'm going to go ahead and put a small strainer on the raw water supply to the toilet. That way I don't have to worry about something getting up in there and getting it plugged up somewhere in the line. When you're on the water, especially in the springtime when you get some heavier rains, you can literally pick up anything, from a stick, like I said, to a little fish, to moss, anything. So something to keep in mind is when you're checking your systems over, make sure that you replace any old clamps, and you do want to double clamp this as well, just to make sure that if you do have a clamp that fails, like this one's pretty rusty, you've got a backup on all of your through hole decking, especially up to the water line. Then that way, if you do have a leak or something, that you are going to be secured and have enough clamping force on that if you have a hose clamp that fails. So something to keep in mind when you're doing your maintenance. Always put in strainers. That way it keeps out debris and keeps you from having problems later on down the line. Now, let me tell you a little story. When I was in the U.S. Coast Guard, I was up on Lake Ontario, and we didn't have through holes like this. We had what we call a sea chest. And a sea chest is basically it's like a large box, and you would have, it would sit up off the bottom of the hole itself, and it was square, and on the side of that, then that's where you'd have all your through holes would be attached to what we call the sea chest. I think the engine at the time was a Cummins VT 903. It was on a 41-foot UTV boat, Coast Guard 41357 was the whole number. That was the call sign of that boat. We had an overheating issue with the starboard engine. At idle, plenty of water flow coming out the exhaust. Higher RPMs, seemed like plenty of water flow coming out the exhaust, but it was getting hot on us. We checked everything over and over and over again, trying to figure it out. Checked impellers, checked the lines, disconnected the main line going from the sea chest up to the Japsco pump at the time, and we found out that there was a water supply issue. There was getting some water, enough, but not enough at higher RPM. And what it was actually, I was a machinery technician. That was part of my job, machinery technician / boarding officer. Went out there, it was late in the evening. It was probably, 7, 8 o'clock at night, still working on trying to figure out what was wrong with it. And on the sea chest, that's where I disconnected the hose. It had like a 3-inch supply line coming to that, and it had a big old ball valve there coming off the sea chest. So I tried everything, and I took the line loose directly off the sea chest, and there was water coming through, but it wasn't like the other one. So I went ahead and pulled that 3-inch line off of that valve, and lo and behold, right there on the inside was a big old wad of moss. It was like a floating seaweed. I don't know what you call it. I can't remember what it's called up there, but it had come through the grate on the bottom of the bottom of the hole. There was actually a steel grate that would keep out the bigger debris from getting into the sea chest and then from there into the engines. But there was that moss must have accumulated right there on that grate, and then when we started that engine up, that engine was probably the first one that got started and sucked up all that moss and just jammed up the outlet to that valve, that through-hole valve, but sea chest valve. So it's always important to make sure you get good strainers on all of your supply lines coming directly from your water source for your cooling, toilet, air conditioning unit, or whatever, engines, to ensure that you're covered and that you're not going to have any issues with cooling issues or engine issues or toilet issues. So something to keep in mind, guys. Always inspect everything, make sure you're good to go. Nobody wants to get on a lake, have some issues. Now, in the future, I'm going to be talking a little bit more about what I did in the Coast Guard, and kind of give you guys a real life scenario. And hey, if there's any other coasties out there, comment below, man. I really want to reach out to you. So appreciate everything that you did serving our country. So this is going to be the strainer that I'm going to be putting in line right here. I'll be taking this whole clamp off anyway and get rid of this. I gotta find another nipple to screw on here, and so that's, anyhow, that is what is going to protect my raw water to my toilet. Do away with this, add another little protection, and that way we'll be good to go. Alright, so I've got everything hooked up down here. Got my strainer put on. This is my supply water to my toilet. Got my strainer put on theirs. And then also had to reroute this a little bit. That's some scheduled, I think it's schedule 80 on that. And shorten up my nipple going to my pump so that this way my strainer and everything kind of lines better with my through-hole valve there. So everything's working good. Got my pump circulating, making sure everything's good. Testing for leaks. And one more project done and a few more to go. So stay tuned, everybody. We've got a lot more coming on. And for everybody that's joined us for the first time, thanks for coming along, because just doing a lot of boat repairs, and we're just about ready to hit the water. So stay tuned. See you all later. God bless you guys. See you soon. Bye.